chords as well. So let me show you how you get from one chord to another in a simple progression. The basic progression of all music is 1, 4, 5. In classical music they call it tonic, which is the 1, dominant, which is the 5, and subdominant, subdominant, which is the 4. Let me show you how you get that 1, 4, 5. That 1, 4, 5 progression works in blues. Rock and roll is based off blues. It works in country. Most songs are 1, 4, 5. Okay, so let me show you that. Let's go back to C, okay? Our C scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now you know how to make a chord. The chord is notes 1, 3, and 5 of that scale. That's the chord. Now let's go away from the chord and find out the chord progression. Slightly different, but still based off the C scale. And we're going to do this progression in the key of C, because that's what we're saying we're going to do. So, in the key of C, a C chord is my 1 chord. How do I know that? Because C is the 1 of a C scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. My 1 chord is notes 1, 3, and 5 of that scale. My 4 chord would be, go up the C scale, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is note number 4 of the C scale. My 4 chord, the 4 gets a little complicated, but you'll see how it works. The 4 of my C, that becomes the 1 of my 4 chord. Okay, so my 1 chord is here, my 4 chord is here, my 5 chord is here. I make the 1 chord based off this scale. 1, 3, and 5. I make the 4 chord based off this scale. 1, 3, and 5. And I make the 5 chord, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, based off this note. This becomes the 1 of my 5 chord. It's a G. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the numbers change. So here's my 1 chord, 2, 3, here's my 4 chord, here's my 5 chord. Shake it up, baby, shake it up, baby. Twist and shout, or old MacDonald had a farm. E-I-E-I-O. Whole bunch of stuff. How many roads must a man walk down before they call him a man? The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. That's the simplest way to play these chords. 1, 3, 5, move them around like this. That's 1, 4, 5 progression for a whole bunch of different kinds of songs. Now let's fool around with the fact that I can play this chord like this, or like this, or like this. I could take these 3 notes in a C chord and move them around. I can do the same thing with the 3 notes in an F chord. So I don't have to go like this. I can take this note here, which is my 5 of this, and bring it down here. So now I can go from this position of a C chord, it's called a triad, to this of a 4 chord, of an F chord. Rather than have to go here, I just go here. So now I have what's called economy of motion from the 1 chord, the C chord, to the F chord, just by moving these 2 notes. So if I would go to C to F, that's a little progression. That's a little cadence. 1, 4, 1. Try to be 1. Something sounds kind of cool about this. If this is my 4 chord, my 5 chord, everything just moves up a whole step. 5, 4, 1. Shake it up, baby, shake it up, baby. How many roads must a man walk down before they call him a man? The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. Or watch it, blowing in the wind. I don't have to go to here because this note is in this chord. Remember, you can play any bass note of a chord that's in the chord. So I could play this bass note for this chord. I could play this one. The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the... Watch this. Instead of going down to here, I'll go up to here. Blowing in the wind. Same three notes. 1, 3, 5. So by knowing your progression, your 1, 4, 5 progression, 1, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then figuring out that chord based off that scale. And if you go, well, I don't know that scale, use the same configuration of your C scale. From the first note to the second note, whole note, half note. Watch this. Let me figure out this scale. What is this? Happens to be an F sharp. From the first note to the second note, it's a whole step. To the third, it's a whole step. To the fourth, it's a half step. To the fifth, it's a whole step. Sixth is a whole step. Seventh is a whole step. Between 7 and 8 is a half step. All of a sudden, without even knowing how to play that, I figured out on my own how to play an F sharp scale. You can do that on piano, you can do that on guitar, you can do that on ukulele, you can do that on clarinet, you can do that in your head when you're just singing in the shower or in your car. It's all a question of getting familiar with this stuff. So I urge you and support you in spending some time either with the piano or on your guitar, figuring out these things, play your chord, seeing what notes make up that chord, the 1, 3, and the 5, seeing where they are on your fretboard or on the piano, and then move notes around. Come up with different configurations of that chord, different inversions. Put the bass note in a different place. If you're playing guitar, you're playing a D chord, play your D chord, but instead of playing a D bass, come all the way down to the 2nd fret of your low string, the 2nd fret of your low E string, and play that. So we can play it with your thumb, so that's an F sharp. So all of a sudden you get this. With a D chord, you get this. That's going to lead you to your G chord. You can have so much fun in your simple little 3-chord song, since each of the chords can be 3 different inversions. This one, and this one. So now your 3-chord song becomes a 9-chord song. All C chords. Same with the G chord. So I go from this G chord, this 5 chord, to this 1 chord. As opposed to going, same thing, from a 5 chord to a 1 chord. Or from a 5 chord, different inversion, to a 1 chord. Fool around with it, have fun with it, explore, discover, and you'll see bit by bit how you'll see the pieces come together. Simple numbers. Work with it. I'll see you next time.